guys, we are gonna get going.
Are we on Zoom too?
We are on, Zoom. I know we've got somebody from Southern Indiana, in here. Google has this link as well, and then we're on the YouTube. So this is getting recorded, the YouTube. This is gonna get recorded, but on YouTube as well. So, a little bit of background before we get into this, because you guys are kind of, in a sense, my guinea pigs for this series. As some of you may or may not know, I'm a big fan of the MREA. I have read it front to back 8 times. And I think it's a huge, amazing tool for everybody in their real estate business. But I fully understand it's not the funnest to read. It's not the easiest to read. It's a fairly thick book, all of those kinds of things. And so just kind of like brainstorming, how do we get the knowledge of the MREA packaged up in a way that even if you haven't read it before, it can still help you in your business. And so I have created a series. So we are going to do a series, this session 1, today, the Millionaire, the MREA mindset. And we're going to go through the MREA in a way that I think is going to be super helpful. My people here have a student manual that I printed out. I have the link to the student manual in the chat. So make sure you pop over into the chat and click on that student manual. Should just be a PDF version. You can print it out if you want, all that kind of stuff. So what I need from you guys is feedback as we go through this series, and this series is going to build. So please come to them. If you can't come to them, watch the recordings afterwards, and then please send me the feedback. Do I need to pause in spot more? Do I need more interaction throughout this? Do I need more speaking during this? Do we need more explanation on this, that, or the other thing? I'm really excited about this. I think it's going to be a really great course, but I would love your guys' feedback since this is the first time we are going through this course. Okay, so lastly, the housekeeping is going to be your legal notices. So telemarketing, make sure you're complying with TCPA. This is again, this is something that I built. So I kind of pulled the notices off of the KWRI thing, so that anybody from KWRI legal was looking at this, they'd be like, oh look, she's got legal notices on here. So some of this is going to be accurate to that, and then some of it is just like general KWRI stuff. So negotiating, commissions are not set by law of practice and are fully negotiable. All that kind of stuff. Fair housing, please don't discriminate, can spam, and then AI. So yeah. And then copyright. We are obviously going through the MREA. We will do kind of cover some little pieces that pertain to shift, the one thing, 6-person perspectives, those kinds of things. So just keep in mind that any content straight from the MREA is copyrighted. So welcome class 1 of the MREA series, Think Like a Millionaire Agent. This class is the foundation of everything we'll do over the next few weeks. So we're going to do this every Wednesday until for the next 6 weeks. There's 6 sessions, right? Before you can build a big business, before you implement models or hire talent or master lead gen, you have to think differently. That's what this session is all about. The difference between agents who plateau and those who build millionaire businesses isn't always in their skills. It's in their thinking. It's in a way they set goals, handle challenges, and lead themselves day after day. Today, we're going to unpack that mindset. We'll look at the 3 key components that drive success. We'll talk about economic goals versus ego goals, and most importantly, you're going to set your first big goal. This is your launch pad. If you stay open, curious, and coachable today, you'll walk away with a vision that's bigger than what you walked in with. So let's dive in. Let's talk about the power of big goals. Big goals inspire big action. When you set a goal that feels out of reach, something that stretches you, you begin to think, act, and plan differently. You don't just do more, you become more. Small goals lead to small behavior. They allow you to stay comfortable, But a big goal forces you to level up. It demands more from you, and that's the point. Instead of asking, what can I do? I want you to start asking, what do I need to become to hit that goal? That question will lead you to new habits, new skills, and a whole new version of yourself. And remember, growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. That next level of income, confidence, or impact lives just outside what feels easy. The goal or the invitation to go there. One last thing. A big goal is not a guarantee, it's a growth strategy. You might hit it, you might miss it, but I promise you'll be further along than if you played it safe. So think about it. What's your big goal? And who do you need to become to make it happen? We've got a quote on here from straight out of MREA, don't lower your goals to the level of your ability. Instead, raise your ability to the level of your goals. Okay? Let's take a minute to look at the difference between economic goals and ego goals, because knowing which one you're chasing will shape every decision you make. This chart gives us a side-by-side view. On the right, you'll see what we call economic goals. These are the goals that tie directly to your business model. They're numbers-driven, focused on profitability, sustainability, and growth. On the left, we have ego goals. These look good, feel good, and can even be fun, but they don't always move your business forward. Here's an example. Let's say your goal is to be the #1 agent in your office. That's an ego goal. It feels good, but it doesn't guarantee profitability. You could be #1 and still be broke. Compare that to an economic goal like netting $100,000 this year. That's measurable, strategic, and scalable. Another comparison, an economic goal might be take 4 listings this month. An ego goal might be have a luxury listing just to say you have one. One drives income, the other might drive attention, but not necessarily results. This isn't to say ego goals are bad, they're just not the compass. They can come with success, but they shouldn't lead it. So as you're setting goals today, ask yourself, is this a goal that builds my business or just my image? Because when you focus on economic goals, your ego goals often get met anyway, but in a way that lasts. Now that we understand the difference between economic and ego goals, let's talk about why that actually matters. The goals you set determine the decisions you make, how you spend your time, and what kind of business you build. When your goals are ego-driven, your decisions tend to be reactive. You say yes to things because they look good, not because they move the needle. That can lead to burnout, frustration, and a business that feels out of alignment with your true priorities. But when your goals are economic, tied to income, activities, and conversion rates, you gain control. You're not chasing success anymore, you're building intentionality. Focusing on economic goals allows you to better make decisions faster because you can ask, does this support my economic goal? Stay consistent because you're working from a model, not emotions. Measure your progress with real numbers, not just how you feel. The bottom line, clarity creates momentum. When you're clear about the kind of goal you're pursuing, you're no longer distracted by someone else's definition of success. You're building your own. Keep this question in mind moving forward. Is this a move that serves my business or just my ego? Because your bank account doesn't care how many likes you got, it reflects how well your model is working. Okay, we're going to do an activity now. You've heard about the power of big goals, you've seen how they stretch you, how they challenge you, and how they unlock your potential. So let's make this personal. Take a moment to write down your goal for the next 12 months. Not just any goal, your big goal. This should be a goal that makes your stomach flip a little. One that makes you think, how am I going to pull this off? So go ahead and write, my big goal is, and write your big goal. And we're just going to use the notes section for this. We're not on one of the activities yet. So my big goal is. Now I want you to ask yourself, I want you to just pause for a second and look at your big goal while I ask these questions. Does this goal challenge me? Will achieving it require me to think and act differently than I do today? If I hit this goal, what would that open up in my life, my business, or my future? This is more than just a number, it's a decision to grow into the next version of yourself. I've only got a couple people in here and everybody else is kind of in the thing. So if you feel comfortable and you're willing to, put it in the chat. If you guys want to do it here, you guys can. Share your big goal. So put your big goal in the chat. We can say it out loud in here if we want to. Sometimes saying it, or I guess in this instance, putting it in the chat box, is the first step to owning it. Let me open the chat here and see if we've got any participants in the chat. Nobody want to tell us what their big goal is?
I think I wrote when I did my provide a value to others in buying or selling houses.
Okay, that sounds like a more of like a big why than a big goal. Because remember, we're talking here in economic goals, so what's the economic goal? I wanna have 15 closings.
Yes,
This year.
I do have that one. I have 111 closing.
11 closings. Does anybody have like a GCI or anything else that has like an economic number that they wanna hit?
I'd like 200,000.
200,000 in GCI? It's a big goal, for sure.
You said.
I like it, I want a big goal, we're gonna keep building off this. So, I didn't see anything in the chat, but I want you guys to keep this goal visible. I want you to put it on a mirror, your laptop, your dashboard, your screensaver, your desktop background, a sticky note that's taped to your laptop, frame it next to your desk, however you need to. Because everything we do in the MREA series from this point forward is about building the business that will take you there. Okay? Alright. I'm serious. I want to see these posted in places, okay? The first L in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent model is leads, and for good reason. Leads are the fuel of your business. No leads, no opportunities. No opportunities, no closings. Everything else in real estate, your listings, your leverage, your income, flows from this. There are two types of leads that you need to consistently generate: seller leads and buyer leads. And not just a few. You need enough leads to hit your economic goals, and enough consistency in that flow to keep your business stable year-round. In this model, lead generation isn't a sometimes thing, it's a daily thing. Millionaire agents lead generate like top athletes train. With discipline, consistency, and focus. It's not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. This is also where mindset matters. Lead generation isn't just a task, it's your lifeline. The agents who treat it like non-negotiables are the ones who build predictable income, scalable businesses, and long-term success. So as we dive deeper today, I want you to ask yourself, do I treat lead generation like a top priority or like an afterthought? Because the way you answer this is the way your business will grow. The second L in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent model is listings. And this is where your true leverage begins. When you take a listing, you control the market. One listing can generate multiple buyer leads, sign calls, open house opportunities, and future business. Listings are also more time leveraged than buyers. With a listing, you can market it to hundreds of agents and their buyers, while you focus on generating more business. But with a buyer, you're often showing one home at a time, driving all over town and negotiating for hours with no guarantee of a paycheck. That's why top agents become listing-focused agents. They still work with buyers, but their business is built around taking and selling listings. Listings give you more control over your time, more consistent income, and more opportunities to grow your brand. If you want to build a scalable business, not just a busy one, listings must be your priority. The more listings you take, the more predictable your business becomes. Ask yourself, am I building a buyer-based business or a listing-based business? The difference isn't just how you work, it's how big you grow. Okay, so we've got leads, listing. The third animal in the millionaire model is leverage. And it's what turns the job into a business. Leverage is about people, systems, and tools that help you do more by doing less yourself. Most agents hit a ceiling at some point, not because they aren't capable, but because they're doing it all. They're lead generating, showing homes, writing contracts, marketing listings, handling paperwork, and trying to stay sane. It's not just a business, that's burnout waiting to happen. Leverage is how you break that pattern. You hire support, you build systems, you use technology to your advantage. Instead of asking, how can I do more? You start asking, who can do this for me? It's not about giving up control, it's about focusing your time on highest value activities, lead generation, negotiating deals, and building relationships. The rest, you can train someone else to handle it. The truth is, you can't grow your business and cling to every task at the same time. Leverage gives you back your time, energy, and focus so you can grow faster, serve better, and still have a life. Ask yourself, what's on my plate right now that someone else could do 80% as well? That's your first leverage opportunity and your next step towards bigger, more sustainable business. And the answer to that right now is paperwork. I'm sure somebody could do it 80% as well as I do it. We've got affiliate partners. We've got 2 gals on the laptop. I know that there is somebody in every market center who loves paperwork and who would do it for you if you ask them to. So use that leverage. If you hate follow-up, I hope you're using smart plans because it'll do it for you, right? So let's look at how the 3 L's, leads, listing, and leverage, actually work together in a cycle. It all starts with leads. When you generate leads consistently, you create opportunities. Those opportunities turn into clients. And if you focus on sellers, they turn into listings. Listings then fuel your visibility and attract even more leads. A well-marketed listing can generate buyer calls, open house traffic, and referrals. The more listings you have, the more leads you create, which starts the cycle over again. As your listings and leads grow, you will eventually get a point where you can't do it all yourself. That's where leverage comes in. You begin hiring, delegating, and systematizing, which allows you to handle more leads and take more listings without sacrificing your quality of life. Leverage increases your capacity, which supports even more lead generation and listing activity, and the cycle continues. That's how millionaire real estate agents build scalable businesses, not by doing everything themselves, but by building a repeatable cycle where each piece fuels the next. So as you grow, don't think of leads, listing, and leverage as separate ideas. Think of them as a flywheel. Once it's moving, your job is to keep it spinning. So we're going to get into a little bit of 6 personal perspectives. If you've never done that class, I highly suggest you do that entire class. But we're going to kind of talk about the 3 key commitments of millionaire agents. This will be familiar if you've been through 6 personal perspectives. The first key commitment of a millionaire real estate agent is to commit to self-mastery. That means committing to becoming the best version of yourself. And your skills, your mindset, your habits. Self-mastery isn't about being perfect, it's about being intentional. It's the decision to take ownership of your growth and refuse to coast. Top agents don't wait for success to find them. They study models, they track their numbers, they invest in their development, and they get better on purpose. Mastery is also about depth. You don't need to be average at 25 things, you need to become exceptional at a few. In this business, those few are lead generation, conversion, negotiation, and customer experience. If you master those, you'll always have a business. And here's the key. Mastery is a journey, not a moment. You're never done. You just keep showing up, learning, and sharpening your edge. Sometimes that's through books and training. Sometimes it's through coaching and mentorship. Sometimes it's by doing the reps every single day, even when it's not exciting. Committing to self-mastery means you won't stop winging it and start working it. You make your growth non-negotiable, because when you grow, your business grows. So ask yourself, where do I need to raise my standards? And then commit, not casually, but like your business depends on it, because it does. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm gonna let it sit for a minute. Where do you need to raise your standards? And I want you to take whatever came to mind, and probably honestly, whatever first came to mind is probably the right answer. Like, you probably didn't need to think about it the entire time that I sat there in that silence. You probably, the first thing that came across your mind was exactly the right answer. So commit to that, because your business depends on it. Okay? The second key commitment is to commit to the 80-20 principle, also known as the Pareto principle. This is the idea that 20% of your actions produce 80% of your results. In real estate, that couldn't be more true. Top agents aren't busy, they're productive. They identify the few activities that actually move the needle and they double down on them. For most of us, that 20% includes lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating deals, and practicing scripts. Everything else, it's either delegated, time blocked, or eliminated. When you commit to the 80-20 principle, you stop wearing busy like a badge of honor. You stop reacting to your inbox and start protecting your calendar. You realize that not all work is equal and you act accordingly. This principle is what helps you scale. It creates focus, it gives you margin. And more importantly, it ensures that your effort is aligned with your goals. There's so many videos about this. The story in the 6 personal perspectives is the big rock story. I'm gonna show a video. It's gonna, in your brain, when you see golf balls, think big rocks. Okay. I love this interpretation of this. Hold on, I'm gonna make sure these guys can hear this, because I don't think I shared this properly. Give me 1 second, guys. You guys probably didn't even hear it. Okay, take 2. Maybe.
Is this jar full? And is it full now? And how about now? Is the jar full now? Yes. Yeah, it is. Now, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. Golf balls are the important things, your family, your friends, your health, and your passions. The pebbles are the other important things, your car, your job, your home. And the sand is everything else, it's just the small stuff. Now, if you put the sand in the jar first, you won't have room for the pebbles or the golf balls. The same is true in life. If you spend all your energy and your time on the small stuff, you won't have time for all the really important things that matter to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Take care of the golf balls first, the really important things. Set your priorities, because everything else is, it's just sand.
When I think the beer is kind of funny. The exercise that you see most often is done with water. But I like his comment at the end, like the difference between the golf balls, the pebbles, the sand. And it is super important and it's 100% true, right? The big things won't fit if all the little things go in first. So committing to the 80-20 principle is important. It's about what are the big things that are actually going to move the needle in my business and doing those first. And protecting your time around doing them first. Time blocking, changing your environment, making sure that there's no distractions, any of those kinds of things. So, what is the 20% of your day that is generating 80% of your results? Are you treating that 20% like it matters, or is it an optional part of your day? Huh? Okay. The third key commitment is to commit to being learning based. That means you approach your business and your life with curiosity, humility, and a mindset of a student. The market changes, technology shifts, client expectations evolve. If you're not learning, you're falling behind. But the agents who commit to learning-based growth are the ones who stay sharp, stay relevant, and stay in business. Being learning-based means you seek out coaching and training. Thank you for being here today, my learning-based people. You read, you ask questions, you reflect. You're not afraid to fail because you know every mistake is a lesson that moves you forward. This isn't about having a formal education. It's about having a growth mindset, a belief that your best work is ahead of you and that you can always get better. The agents who grow the biggest businesses are the ones who never stop being coachable. When was the last time you stretched yourself? When was the last time you set a small goal that gave you butterflies that you weren't sure you were going to be able to reach? When was the last time you said, I'm not good at that, so I'm going to go to a class on it? Or, from the market center perspective, sorry, you're getting a market center leader right now. When was the last time you said, I'm not good at this, and you went to your market center leadership and said, I need a class on this because I need help? Or when was the last time you said, I'm not good at open houses, so I'm going to go teach the Ignite session on open houses because I need to get better at open houses? What are you currently learning? Because your willingness to grow will determine how far you go. So what are you currently focusing on? These three commitments drive everything else. You cannot build a millionaire business on part-time habits. Alright, we're gonna do another exercise here. So this is page 3 in your student manual packet thing that I gave you. Now that we've talked about setting big goals, let's take it one step further. Let's connect your goal to your big why. Why? Because a big goal without a big reason is hard to sustain. Discipline fades, motivation fades. But when your goal is tied to something deeply personal, it becomes powerful. It becomes non-negotiable. On this slide, you'll see a graphic for our big why exercise, the one also in your student manual. At the top, we have personal growth. The idea is that you want to become the best version of yourself. That's the ultimate goal. But to get there, you have to go deeper, all the way down to the real reason that drives you. Start by writing down your big goal that we set. For example, I want to earn $100,000. Then you ask yourself, why is that important to me? So we'll put it at the top, we'll put in the big goal that you guys have already set on. And then right below it, you're going to put the reason why that goal is important to you. Then I want you to ask yourself again, why is that important? And I want you to go down one more level. Why is that important? Do this 5 times. Peel back the layers. You'll often find that your initial goal, the number of milestones, is really about something deeper. Security, family, legacy, confidence, impact. Your job is to get all the way down to your big why. The reason that fuels you when things get hard. Because make no mistake, business will get hard. And in those moments, your big why is what keeps you moving. So right now, we're going to take a few minutes, and I do need a few minutes, so at this point, if you need to go get a cup of coffee or go to the bathroom, now's time, because I'm going to make you sit in this for a few minutes. Start at the bottom of your ground and work your way up to the top. Sorry, I have instructions backward. We start at the top, we're going to work ourselves down. Don't overthink it. Be honest. Be real. This is just for you, I'm not gonna make you share this, okay? This is just for you, I am gonna make you share your big whys, or I'm gonna ask you to share your big whys, but I'm not gonna make you do the things in the middle. When you're ready, we'll talk about what to do once you know your why. So I'm gonna. It is 11:31 right now. I'm gonna make you guys spend 2 minutes of this. So at 11:33, we're gonna move on to the next section of this. So I don't want you guys to just like brush this off of like this is an annoying exercise. This is important. This is the core of what everything we do, because like I just said, when it gets hard, this is what is going to keep you doing the things that you need to do to get you through that hard. Okay? The big goals pull the small goals forward.
It's crazy, this is still hard for me.
I know. So Donna here just said it's crazy that this is still so hard. And I just want to put a little caveat on this too. Some people don't necessarily have a big why. Like me, for example, I don't have a clear-cut big why. Like I have all of the little reasons why, but for me it's really hard to find that one why. And that's okay. Like I want you to hear this from me if you are struggling with this. It is okay to not have a big why, but we need to have some whys. Like it needs to matter for a reason, and if we don't have a why it's important, then it's not our big goal. Okay? But I do want to like put a little caveat in here. It's okay to not have a big why. Joseph, our former team leader, has a big why. His big why is his family, his wife and his kids. And that's what pulls him through everything, is to create a life for his children that they deserve and that he wants to leave behind for them. And that's a huge why. That's a big one. And so you've got people that have big whys like Joseph, and that's phenomenal next to people like me who big why isn't a wife and kids. I don't have children. Right? I still live with my mom. I'm okay with it, proud of it, still live with my mom. It keeps me close to the horses, it keeps me close to the dogs, all that kind of stuff. So I have my reasons for it, but my big why is objectively maybe not as important as Joseph's, and that's okay. Right? Okay. I do want you guys to share your big whys. I don't necessarily think a big why should be something you're scared of talking about. I can understand if you're a little bit like, but it's super personal. It's okay. I don't even know the history of your big why necessarily, but I would love to hear what your big why is. Okay. And I am actually not going to move on to the next slide until I get at least 3 big whys. There's 8 people total with us right now. I can get 3.
The thing that always ended up, because I've heard this, somebody else say this before. And it's to do the things I wanna do when I wanna do them, that's the main thing. But then it comes down to then I want to be able to help my family, my children, my grandchildren. My ego plays a big part.
Yeah, and that's okay. The ego just doesn't move the needle, right?
Yeah,
But what I do, I'm gonna take that back for a second. I do think that there are personalities that the ego is gonna be what moves the needle. Right?
I think so too.
So that blanket statement maybe isn't necessarily correct, because some people the ego is going to move the needle. I think that's a great point. Zoom chat, I am looking at you now. I see nobody answering in the Zoom chat. Cause one of you has to, because there's only 2 people in the room. And I said I'm not moving on until I get 3. Heather, what's your big why?
My big why is to provide value to others in their buying and selling needs. And I also want to grow as a person
Mhm. I think your big why changes too, because my big why a year ago was, I wanted to create like a space and a process and a system so that no new agent struggled coming into the business the way that my mom did. And that was a big driving force for me. That's evolved, and I don't necessarily know if that's my big why anymore, but it's one of my little whys. Alright, my 6 participants, somebody's gotta do it. Somebody's gotta pop it in the chat or I'm not moving on.
Great stuff, no.
There we go. Let me choose the tributes of the Zoom chat. To make a difference in people's lives and provide generational wealth. I love that. That's a huge why. That's amazing. If you guys, the rest of you in the chat, do want to pop it in, please do so. Alright, we're gonna do another exercise. I know this is gonna feel a little like, oh my god, I just did one, but then more. Okay. Now that you've worked through your big why, which I hope you've done, even though you didn't share it with me, it's time to use that clarity to set meaningful goals, and you're going to do that through your 411. Everything you list, this is, so we were just on page 3, page 5 in your student manual is a blank 411. This is what we're working on right now. Everything you list under annual goals, probably help if I change the slide, sorry. Everything listed under annual goals should be big ticket items. These aren't to-do list tasks. They're the core priorities that will move your life and business forward this year. Start by listing them in order of importance, because not all goals carry equal weight. The 411 gives you an action plan. Here's the key to your 411. It should reflect your big why. It's the bridge between your vision and your weekly calendar. If you know what matters most to you, your 411 becomes easy to fill out and powerful to follow. As you start listing your goals, make sure they're accountable. That means you should be able to answer these 4 questions for each one. Is the goal written as a specific, measurable activity, not just a vague result? Does it have a clear deadline or time frame for success? Is it within your control? This is huge. This is a big problem that I have with my 411. Because a lot of my goals aren't something that I can control. It's something I want to happen, and I will do my best to strong arm it, but I can't necessarily control it, right? And then number 4, can an objective third party see exactly where the finish line is? So if we took your 411 and gave it to somebody who's not in the real estate world at all, can they look at your 411 and understand what your end goal is? If you can say yes to all 4, you've got a strong goal. From there, we'll break those annual goals down into monthly milestones and then into weekly actions. That's how you move from intention to execution. So we're going to take a few minutes now and you're going to start drafting your 411. And we'll work through it together. So I want you to start with your annual goals. We're going to do personal and business goals. As you continue building out your 411, it's important to remember that there are 2 parts to it, your personal goals and your business goals. And here's something we don't say often enough. It's okay and actually encouraged to start with the business goals. In fact, when you're sharing your 411 in an accountability setting, leading with the personal side can create more connection, more honesty, and more clarity. Think about it. If your business is thriving, but your personal life is falling apart, is that really success? Probably not. The purpose of the 411 isn't just productivity, it's alignment. When your personal life is healthy, it gives you focus and energy to perform in business. And when your business is structured and purposeful, it enhances your personal life. This is why your 401 should be more than a checklist. It should be a reflection of the life you want to live. So you've already gone through your annual goals, you're now gonna take your annual goal. And you're gonna put a monthly goal to that. Some of this is gonna be super, if you've got a quantitative annual goal. Like, I want to close 12 listings next year, or in the next year, I wanna close 12. Not listings, just 12 closings, I want 12 closings, sorry. Then your monthly goal is super easy, 12 months divided by 12 closings would be, I would need to may have one closing every month, right? So you're gonna break your annual goals down. If one of your personal goals is I wanna run a marathon. In next year, I wanna run a marathon, then one of your monthly goals is going to be that I'm going to, you know, maybe you're gonna run a half marathon every week. And then you kind of like do like a slash, like half marathon to whatever the next one is to whatever the full one is, so that you're like, for first couple months, we're gonna do half marathons, then we're gonna bump it up to the next one, then we're gonna bump it up to that. I'm just throwing stuff out there, right? You're just gonna break it down into monthly. Then you're gonna take that monthly and you're gonna break it down into every week. So if we need one closing every month, we need the activities every week to support the one closing. So if you haven't finished this, please take the time to finish this. You can do it as I kind of talk into the next section. And if this is the first time you've done a 411, please set an appointment with a member of your leadership team to go over this. Okay, they can help you if you're stuck on part of this, they can help you like move through this and finish filling this out. They can be an accountability partner, which we're gonna talk about next. So let's talk about accountability. Whether you're meeting with a coach, team leader, a peer partner, here are 4 powerful questions to guide your weekly check-in. What was your goal last week? How did you do? Based on how you did, what are you going to do differently this week? How do you feel about that? These aren't just logistical check-ins, they invite reflection, ownership, and adjustment. They give you a rhythm to stay focused on what matters, not just once a year, but every single week. So as you're building out your 401, take both parts seriously. Your business supports your life, and your life deserves to be built with just as much intentionality. Okay, so this is my challenge to you: is set an appointment with somebody. If you are not comfortable doing this with a member of your leadership, then find somebody who you believe will be honest and truthful and hold you accountable to this. I'm talking somebody who is going to look at your goal of 12 closings in a year, and when you don't have a closing this next month, they're gonna look at you and say, why in the heck didn't you have a closing? It's on your goal. What are we gonna do differently this next month so that you have 2 closings? Because you've got ground makeup. Okay? We've talked about setting big goals, getting clear on your why, building 401, how flexible, personal and business priorities. Now let's talk about what was it all put together, accountability structure. The truth is, most people don't fail because they lack ambition. They fail because they lack accountability. Willpower fades. Motivation comes and goes, but accountability keeps you moving, especially when things get hard, boring, or uncomfortable. An accountability structure is simply a rhythm, a system, or a person that holds you to your word. Someone or something that ensures you do what you said you would do. There are a few ways to build this. A weekly 4-on-1 meeting with a team leader, coach, or peer partner. A lead generation tracking sheet that you fill out every day. To this point, if you did bold this last year, I have a Google sheet that you can put your name in, and it has the point system that they had at bold that you can track every week, and you can set a point goal for yourself at the end of every month, and you can use that tracking sheet as an option for this. Another option is a shared goals document where someone else can see your progress. Even a calendar alert or recurring check-in you treat like an appointment with yourself. The key is this: don't go it alone. High achievers don't avoid accountability, they seek it out. They build structures that make success easier, not harder. They don't rely on memory, emotion, or mood. They rely on systems. So ask yourself, who is holding me accountable? What structure do I have in place to review my goals weekly? Where in my business do I need tighter accountability? Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress with consistency. Accountability is what keeps your goals from becoming just another wish list. It's how you make them real. So, an example, I know Tara has an appointment on her calendar every, I believe, Sunday to go over her 4-on-1. Your 4-on-1 also is not set in stone, right? It can be flexible, it can move. Your goals should never decrease, but they can sure as heck increase, right? As your life moves and your business changes and all of these things, maybe your personal goals become something different than they were 6 months from now than what they are now. That is okay. As long as we know what our goals are and we have an accountability structure and a plan to meet them, right? Now that we understand why accountability matters, let's talk about how to build your accountability structure. One that's personal, consistent, and actually works. Think of this like building scaffolding around your goals. You're creating support, not just pressure. Accountability shouldn't feel like punishment. It should feel like a tool that keeps you aligned, focused, and in motion. There are 3 key components to a strong accountability structure. Who? Choose the right person or people. That could be a coach, a team leader, a mentor, a peer, or even a small group. The most important thing is that this person is consistent and honest. They should be someone who cares about your success and isn't afraid to call you out when needed. When? Set a regular rhythm. Weekly is ideal. Your 4-on-1 should be a core of this conversation. It's not a long meeting, 15 to 30 minutes max, but it should be non-negotiable. Block it in your calendar like an appointment with your future self. How? Decide what you're tracking and reviewing. That includes your 4-on-1, lead generation numbers, appointments, habits, or commitments you've made to yourself. Use a shared doc, a spreadsheet, or a printed form. Just make sure it's visible and up to date. Here's a tip. Write it down. Don't just think about your structure, build it. Define the person, the time, and the process. When you build it right, it becomes your safety net and your springboard. So take a few minutes right now and ask yourself, who will I be accountable to? When will we meet? What tools or systems will I use to track progress? When you get intentional about accountability, you stop hoping for results and start creating them. So let's see. We're probably gonna finish just a minute or two early, but I do want to spend just a minute on this. So Minnie put her in the chat. Awesome. She's got a coach. That's amazing. She's gonna use a Google Sheet. If you guys want that bold sheets tracker thing that I have, please just send me an email and I will share it with you. It's just a Google thing. Make sure you make a copy of it before you start editing it, so you don't mess. So other people aren't messing with your stuff as well. Who is your accountability partner? How are you gonna track it? And I want your first check-in schedule. So obviously, like if you've got a coach right now, we can't necessarily like in the second column and be like, hey, when are we gonna meet? But I want you to say, I'm gonna try and meet with them this week. This week's too crazy because it's already Wednesday, next week. Alright. As we wrap up today's session, I want you to take a moment and recognize how far you've come. We've defined a big goal, uncovered your big why, built your 411, and started to establish real accountability structures to support it all. This isn't just about planning, it's about becoming. You're stepping into a version of yourself who sets intentional goals, takes purposeful action, and builds a business that serves your life, not the other way around. The work you've done today lays the foundation, but success comes from what you do with it consistently. Keep your 411 visible, protect your accountability rhythm, revisit your big why often. In our next session, we're going to take things even further. We'll dive into the lead generation model and continue to utilize your 411 to make sure you continue to bring that with you to the next MREA session. So between now and then, focus on progress over perfection. Show up for your goals like they matter, because they do. Does anyone have any ahas? And we can talk like ahas, did something like pop up through the session that you're gonna implement? Do you finally have a big why you didn't have one before? Did we help with your big goal? What ahas do we have? Any ahas in the
I
room?
think for me, the fact that the big why can change. It's not like it needs to be in stone.
Yeah.
For me, that is a big deal because I feel like sometimes I put things there and I'm like, okay, it's set in stone and this is the only thing it can ever be. And then my life changes and I'm like, oh, that really doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah.
But I keep changing it
Mm-hmm.
and then start arguing with myself.
Yeah. Donna, do you have any ahas?
I really have to think through the fact that after all these years, every time people say, what's your big why? I can't really pinpoint it other than what I had said earlier. And it's like, I cannot believe after all these years, I still don't think, I know I listening to some pastors and things like that, I kind of know what I need to do personally with my personal life, which will enhance my business. But that big why question just has always thrown me.
Yeah. I guess one of the things that I didn't cover, you guys, in your student manual, I did make an accountability partner check-in form. So the weekly questions, what's your goal, what actions to take, what worked well, what are you committing to? What potential distractions or roadblocks do you foresee? How can I support you this week? And then kind of putting your goals back for the week, you're like setting an appointment goal, and then like reflecting on this. It's in your student manual. If you want the copy of that PDF so that you can make copies of it and use it in your accountability partner check-ins, let me know. I'm happy to share that with you. It's all in there for you to utilize. I know I'm the instructor, so I don't usually do my own ahas, but I'm gonna do an aha, something that stuck with me. You're not built to do it alone. I think that's been something that's popped up in my world several times in the last couple months. And not to get too religious on anybody, but we were never built to do this alone. Right? God did not put us on this world to do this alone. So I hope you hear that. I hope you find an accountability partner. I think a really fun exercise too, which I've seen people do, is doing a 411 with your partner, your spouse, your partner, your business partner, and doing a joint one together. So that you guys together know what your goals are for the future. So, alright, well. If our Zoom chat doesn't have any other ahas for us, that's what I got for you.
Thank you, Lexi.
We made pretty good time, pretty happy with that. Please don't forget feedback, you guys. If you're gonna send me feedback, do remember that I am a human being and have feelings. But I do and want constructive criticism. Did we need more breaks? Did we need something? Did the order of it not work for you? Did we not like something? Did we wish this section had something that I didn't put in here? If you've read the MREA before, all those kinds of things. I do really have a dream of this becoming more than just something I teach here in this office. So, feedback is always appreciated. Again, I challenge you to set an appointment with somebody about your 411, whether that's your market center leadership, a peer, a different coach, whatever that may be. Share your 411 with somebody who can help hold you accountable. Alright, we will be back with session 2 next week, Wednesday at 11 AM. We will do the same thing over again. Thanks, Monique. Thank you for your participation. Appreciate you. If you guys want to revisit this, the recording of this is on the Keller Williams Commonwealth YouTube channel under lives. Search KW Commonwealth and you can find it. Thanks for showing up for the first inaugural MREA series. I think it's been a good one. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you guys for being here.